Follow Jay Calderon on Boxing Talk.
What's up, y'all? It's Jay Calderon, Stand Clear Entertainment, and we're about to get into this week's boxing talk. There was a lot of big fights this weekend, a lot of great action. First, we start off with the WBC light heavyweight champion of the world, Adonis Superman Stevenson, defending his title for the 7th time against Thomas Top Dog Williams Jr. It was an excellent fight matchup that these guys went toe-to-toe in an all-out warfare for 4 rounds. In the first round, we had Adonis Stevenson dropping Williams to the canvas, but Williams was able to come back as a very game fighter. He was landing some big, hard-hitting, powerful shots on Adonis Stevenson, and he even shook up Adonis Stevenson several times in this fight. But Stevenson, in the 4th round, was able to land a perfectly timed shot and drop his man face down to the canvas, and Williams was not able to beat the count. Adonis Stevenson was victorious in this fight in dramatic fashion, and I gotta tip my hats off to both of these men for putting on a great performance between them two. It was an action-packed fight. I know a lot of people were rooting for the underdog Williams to knock out Adonis Stevenson. Stevenson gets a lot of hate out there in the boxing world because he turned down the Kovalev fight when he could have took the fight when he was at HBO, and that fight never took place. A lot of people are calling him scared Adonis Chickerson. Let's be real. Let's see it for what it really is. This is now a business. It is not about glory anymore. These fighters are not fighting for honor. These guys are fighting for big paydays. Adonis Stevenson falls in line with every single fighter that Al Heyman has today. You got guys like Danny Garcia, Adrian Broner, Amir Khan, a lot of fighters in that stable that have been called duckers, scared, cherry pickers, you name it. Why? Because these guys are not fighting the top level guys right now in their weight classes. These guys would rather fight easier opponents and make over $1 million+ just to take those easy fights, and they want to get paid 3 times the amount that they're really worth against fighters that the fans want to see. Manny Pacquiao had offered $4 million for Danny Garcia, and he turned that down.
We didn't turn it down. We just asked for more money. Then they said no.
And they said no. You think they're gonna come back to the table though?
If they want it, like I said, if they want the fight to happen, accept my offer.
Adrian Broner wants $10 million to fight Manny Pacquiao. Guys like Adonis Stevenson went over to Showtime because they are paying him way more money than what HBO was willing to pay to have him fight these type of fighters. And also, they wanted to generate more money by bringing Kovalev off of HBO so that they could fight on PBC and get paid what they want to get paid. HBO is not willing to pay these fighters. Guys are suffering by fighting on HBO pay-per-view when they're not ready for that level just yet. Especially with fights like Sean Porter and Keith Thurman fighting on national television, where we can see those fights for free and you have to pay to watch other fights just for these fighters to get their money. I believe Adonis Stevenson, if he was ever to fight Sergey Kovalev, would beat Sergey Kovalev. Kovalev is considered the best 175-pounder in the world. He's very strong, hard-hitting power, and he could box a little. But I expect him to lose against Andre Ward this coming November. And I believe that Sergey Kovalev would lose to Adonis Stevenson if they ever fought. Stevenson has quicker hands, he has some good boxing skills, and he is a very strong, hard-hitting puncher. And I believe that he would be able to withstand Kovalev's power, perhaps get knocked down, but also finish the fight. Now, Andre Ward is a guy that's a different style. He's not a power puncher. He's a guy that has boxing skills and a very good ring IQ. And he's fighting this weekend at the Oracle Arena in Oakland, California, his backyard, against a guy that's moving up from super middleweight. And he's a fighter that has never faced the caliber of an Andre Ward before. He's relatively unknown, a Colombian hard-hitting puncher that is going to come into this fight as a huge underdog. Andre Ward is expected to dominate in this fight. He's going to outbox this man, and I expect him to stop his man, perhaps in the middle rounds, to take his second tune-up fight right before he faces Kovalev later on this year. And when he finally faces Kovalev, I expect a fight to go the way that Terence Crawford versus Victor Postol went. A fight that wasn't that much exciting. A pure boxer with great defense that's going to take away the excitement of Kovalev wanting to go toe-to-toe and bang out. Andre Ward is just too smart, too good, too fast for Sergey Kovalev to get into that type of exchange. He will get hit, but I believe that his defense will basically negate whatever Kovalev brings to the table. Remember, a 50-plus-year-old Bernard Hopkins was able to avoid getting knocked out in 12 rounds against Sergey Kovalev. So a guy that's much younger in Andre Ward with great defense as well will go 12 rounds with Sergey Kovalev. And I just see him outboxing Sergey Kovalev once that fight takes place. And I believe that he will also beat Adonis Stevenson to claim the rightful throne at 175 pounds as the light heavyweight king of the division. But that fight may never happen because both Sergey Kovalev and also Andre Ward are both bound by contract with HBO, and they're not willing to leave HBO to go to the other side where the payday will be a lot greater because HBO is not willing to bend to the terms of Al Heyman's fighters and pay them ridiculous amount of money just for the fights to take place that the fans want to see. Now moving along, we had some great action on Showtime when Mikey Garcia returned to the ring in a very good, excellent fight against Rojas, a former world champion. And Rojas, I gotta tell you, he looked pretty good in this fight. He showed a lot of movement. He showed some quickness. He was able to score some good punches on Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia looked a little bit too big for me at 140 pounds. I believe his best weight is at 135 pounds, the lightweight division, which he said that he is going to move down in his next fight because he would like a world title shot against one of the lightweight champions. Mikey Garcia was just too powerful for Rojas. He was able to drop him about 4 times in this fight, and the fight ended in the 5th round.
I'm sure Mikey Garcia feels like he's going to land something big, and he did. He just did again on cue. Oh, that right hand. Down goes Rojas again. Trying to use a base of head movement, but gets tagged again by Garcia, and he goes down for the 3rd time in the fight. This is going to be another fight. And the referee, Eddie Claudio, starts the 4th knockdown. Welcome back, Mikey Garcia.
It was a good comeback for him. I know a lot of people were excited to see Mikey Garcia back in the ring. He looked good, but the weight, he definitely needs to drop and come down for his next fight. In the future, if he moves up back to the junior welterweight division, I would like to see him fight guys like Omar Figueroa and also guys like Cuban Rancis Bartholomew. Those are fights that are very interesting to the boxing fans, and they will be excellent action-packed fights for Mikey Garcia. But he's calling out Terry Flanagan from the UK, so we have to wait and see how that plays out. Now, the main event of that evening on Showtime, one of the best fights of the year. We've had a lot of great fights, but this fight right here between Leo Santa Cruz and Carl the Jackal Frampton was a hell of a fight, action-packed from beginning to end. Leo Santa Cruz is a hell of a fighter, man. This guy threw over 1,000 punches in that fight, but it was Carl Frampton, the guy that a lot of people was calling the underdog. And I'm a big fan of Frampton for several years, and I was rooting for him for this fight. And I believe that he had the boxing skills to pull off the victory. But I was still unsure if he was going to be able to deal with the high volume that Leo Santa Cruz brings to the table. And he showed that he was the much stronger fighter at 126 pounds than what he looked against Scott Quigg and also against Alejandro Gonzalez when he was dropped at 122 pounds. I guess that the weight factor was definitely a difference for him in this fight because he looked so much stronger and his punches were a lot better quality-wise. When he landed, you saw him move Santa Cruz. He staggered Santa Cruz in this fight, and Santa Cruz was hurt. But Santa Cruz was able to come back and dish out a lot of punishment. But you saw the slickness and the movement of the Jackal. He was precise and very accurate with his punches, landing that right hand at will, also the jab, and going to the body with some very good hard-hitting shots. But the Jackal prevailed in this fight, and I was extremely happy that the judges got it right finally. It was a close fight. People could argue that it could have been a draw, but I saw Frampton definitely pulling out the victory win by 1 or 2 points, the most, because it was that close of a fight.
Sweeps in with the right hand, then with the left hook, and staggers Santa Cruz. has been very good at making Santa Cruz miss a lot.
Now Santa Cruz has Frampton on the ropes. They are just teeing off.
Not to be ringside in Brooklyn. Stand and cheer.
And the new WBA featherweight champion of the world, the great Irish champion, Carl the Jackal Frampton.
And I know people want to see a rematch. I do. But that rematch is not going to take place this year. I believe that there's big money fights for Carl the Jackal Frampton in the UK against Lee Selby, the other featherweight champion, for a unification match. That will be a huge fight either in Northern Ireland or also in the UK, perhaps in Wales. But it's going to be a great matchup between those two fighters because Selby is a good, solid boxer, and the Jackal showed what he is made of in this fight. What's next for Leo Santa Cruz? I say Leo Santa Cruz should go after Gary Russell Jr. I believe that's an excellent fight matchup. Russell is a great boxer with very fast hand speed and good punching power, but does he have the mental toughness to deal with that type of volume and that type of pressure from Leo Santa Cruz the way he gave Carl Frampton? We don't know if Gary Russell is mentally tough for that type of challenge, but it will be a great fight for the WBC featherweight title. And the winner of that fight could fight the winner of Shelby versus Frampton next year, 2017. So that's like a little mini featherweight tournament that we would love to see as boxing fans, because the featherweight division is heating up at 126 pounds. You got the newly crowned champion of the WBO, which is Oscar Valdez, an undefeated champion that is a exceptional talent. But you also have guys like Joseph Jojo Diaz Jr., who's also out there, and that's a fight matchup that I would like to see between those two guys. I would like to thank everyone that has tuned into my YouTube channel, J. Calderon Boxing Talk. Please subscribe, hit that little subscribe button. Also, check out my exclusive interview on YouTube on my channel with the great Juan Manuel Marquez, one of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time. I have him number 2 right behind the great Julio Cesar Chavez, but he is my personal favorite. He gave me a great interview insight on Miguel Cotto and also Manny Pacquiao, Timothy Bradley. So I'd like to thank him for giving me that great interview, and I would like to thank all of you guys for tuning in to my channel. Please follow me on Instagram and also Twitter at J. Calderon Boxing, and also join that Facebook boxing group page, J. Calderon Boxing Talk. I'm J. Calderon, Stand Clear Entertainment. Thanks for your support. Keep watching and subscribe.